Thank you guys for joining us today. My name is Kelvin Moretti. Today I'm joined in by a wonderful panel of very smart individuals. We'll be discussing the issue of toxic relationships. We hope to gain the value of your time. Karibuni sana. So today we wanted, I'm joined by Daryl Salimia Watu.
ECG, SBS, KBC, NTV,
Jacom,
Darguru,
the leader.
Ward Baba.
Oh,
Not
Mera.
even Luo, anyway. That is my name.
Karibu sana to mics. So today we also joined by some wonderful ladies. Please introduce yourselves.
Hello, guys. My name is Sarah. I'm glad to be here. Looking forward to the discussion.
Mrs. Guru.
Esther, happy to be here today.
Huyo ni Madam MD. Tunamwita Madam MD. Ni watu wameomoka. So anyway, today we wanted to discuss something about relationships. And mimi sinanga, I don't have experience with this topic. And relationships specifically in terms of hiyo part ya sina experience usiweke we. Yeah, so
guy doesn't have experience, doesn't have. We must highlight. Kwanza make sure hapo kuna scratch experience.
Yeah, so we've recently seen a spike in gender-based violences. Is it violence or violence? Yeah, violence. And very many people actually, ladies dying, men getting stabbed and decapitated in specific areas. Men having, the entire structure of relationship, especially in this COVID period, has been really, really violent. What do you think is a problem? Why do you think we've had a spike in this gender-based violence?
Well, my few cents on that regarding the pandemic. I think the pandemic has forced us to live with our people. You know, the night outs, the staying in bars until long times, excuses like they're no longer there. So the lack of funds, because when you have money, you're comfortable, you can at least leave the house and find something. But I feel after the pandemic, maybe guys have tumelazimishwa tukae pamoja. So most of us were not really tolerable to each other, and we didn't know that because we are used to going out. Yeah. You get drunk, but
go to work.
Go to work, such things. Yeah. So there's always something that keeps you preoccupied. But when you've now fixed with your person there and you start realizing that, kumbe huyu anavanga t-shirt ya singenge ni ng'ombe. You get, and I realize you're the kind of person who does this. So at the end of the day, those two small habits come out and they become a friction, you see. And I feel that's in little words that's one of the major causes of it.
And actually the most interesting thing is a lot of people don't realize just how much that 8 hours that you're working in the office really helps marriages stay stable. Like having that break from each other and mnapata hiyo contact time kidogo in the evening. At least mko na stories, babe, leo kuna mtu aliniingia vibaya kwa matatu, kwa traffic, babe, see my boss has done the thing. It creates even content to speak about in the evening. But now you are together. Like I know there are guys who were working from home since last year. Like stories inaisha, and you now are forced to confront the issues that you're facing. It's showing that there's a lot of toxic people are in very toxic relationships, and one of the byproducts of a toxic relationship is violence. So have you been in a relationship like that?
I hope you have time.
Yes. Yes.
You lack experience, eh?
Okay, yeah. Teach me.
I have years of experience.
Teach me, sensei.
When it comes to toxicity, first and foremost, I'll say I feel I've also been toxic at a point. And to be very honest, yes, I've been toxic at some point. Yeah, but because you see, when it comes to toxicity, you need to evaluate yourself. And this is where, Mr. Moderator, you need to get experience. Because when I feel like when you date, with each relationship after mine, yeah, after the end of each relationship, I've been learning something I'm not good at, or something I was previously doing wrong. Some of them I've done them in my current relationship. But you see, you go on and see how you're going to maneuver. Because you see, at the end of the day, we are bound to make mistakes.
Yeah.
And you see, toxicity is something that it only becomes toxicity once you know it's not good for the other person, you keep doing it. But if you're doing it at the first time, it may not be really toxic, because you may be doing their things. I've made very many mistakes in relationships, not knowing I was doing a mistake. But I learned later on, after you grow up, you realize that this was actually a mistake that I was doing. This person deserved more, or this person did this to me, and so on and so forth.
So you're saying what is considered toxic is very subjective.
It's subjective,
because
according to me.
actually I think that's a very profound statement, because what I might consider bad, someone else might, be okay with it. There are people who love getting critique. Someone telling them, you didn't cook nicely, maybe you can tweak 1, 2, 3. But then there's someone else who might be, who might not be very receptive to that, and continuous exposure to that issue might end up, having aspects that might be uncomfortable to the person. So I think that's a very profound statement. And also I think an aspect that you've also captured is the fact that we need to continuously bounce off the other person, continuously evaluate how your actions are affecting the other person, and change and adjust. Otherwise, now you are being a toxic person. And
Exactly.
And human beings are very interesting people, because we don't realize our own toxicity. We don't want to imagine that we can be toxic. Yeah, we don't want to imagine that we ourselves can be toxic. Yeah. So what did you do? What do you change? Like, how do you adjust when you realize that you are being a toxic person?
Sometimes habits are built. Breaking off a habit may be difficult. In my current relationship, what I'd say, there are things I've done repeatedly that have not necessarily been good, as much as my intentions were not in any way to try and hurt somebody. But you say it's because that's something you're used to. And you see, there's also that you being yourself. For example, it's better to work with examples. I'm somebody who used to one moment I'm here, in the next few hours I'm in Nakuru. And I didn't feel at any point that I need to be answerable to anyone. As who? I'm answerable to you as who?
Who are you?
Exactly. Wewe ni nani?
Who appointed you?
Okay.
When were the elections?
Oh yeah. Okay, Deputy Jesus. So it becomes hard to break them. So what you do is you see how it affects the other person, see how it impacts them. There are those that need instant change. There are those that can really take some time to change. And you just need to realize that with each and every passing thing that happens, you need to know how to relate with your person, how to adjust. This thing is hurting them. How much does it hurt them? Because there's times you'll do something to somebody and they'll not look at you the same way, and that thing can break you.
Yeah.
But there are those that you'll be like, okay. Yeah, she anaweza kasirika, but yeah, kama huwa kama waja kadogo, yeah, ka chocolate.
Yeah.
Okay.
And to our listeners, it's very interesting. We are interviewing two people who are dating.
Yeah, so me, I'm getting faces here. But I think deep down, I think everyone knows what's good and what's bad.
Yeah.
So there are those basic things, honestly. Like there are those things that I don't need to tell you, but no one should be doing this to you. Yeah. There are those things I know, like me as his girlfriend. I don't want to come home and find him cheating on me, and then, he's going to apologize and then bring flowers. like that is bottom line. This is no.
Yeah.
Not unless I hope there is no one in this world who doesn't mind being cheated on. Honestly, I actually read an article which said there are women who don't mind their men cheating, and I was so shocked. Yeah. The same way there are women who don't mind being beaten by their men.
Really?
I've read, there are women who think that's an act of love, being beaten, being slapped from time to time.
So it's a cultural thing, Amma?
Yeah, I don't know. It's so weird. But for me, when I'm talking about the basic, I'm talking about such things. I'm assuming no one enjoys to be beaten. You know, don't be. You can't tell me that's how he expresses love. No, it doesn't make sense. But then again, there are those things, and I'll tell you for a fact, especially us, our generation, we are big on memes. And one thing I can say about memes, they've exposed who we are, because most of the time I feel like memes, they express our thoughts and our values and our ideas and what
in very subtle ways.
Yes, and our cultures and what we think is right and what we think is normal. And you read some memes and you realize, like, I think you've seen this meme where it's Future always saying some toxic things, sending them, you know, it's always like this. You know, I've seen the cross and I've realized that I didn't even fight for our relationship. I want you back. Please say hi to your mom. You don't have to reply. Very toxic things. You know, you don't have to reply. Yes. Yeah. I didn't fight for us. That's so toxic, you know. It's things you keep on sending to that one ex that maybe has been so good to you all this while. And you know this woman has been good to you, or this man has been very good to me, and I've been a shitty person. So these are texts you send them and then you're like, don't reply. And you know they're triggering them. That's a very triggering message. They will be tempted to reply and then you're telling them, say hi to your mom. Nigga,
wow.
That means this relationship was so big on me, I even brought you to my own parents. And then you were just a shitty person. And now that I'm trying to move on, you're trying to pull me back with these stupid things. So those are things that I might say maybe there are people who don't notice them because they're so
subtle.
Yes. Like it's a text. And this is someone trying to show, they're doing the bare minimum to show you that they're thinking about you. But they're not willing to change. They just want to show you that they're thinking about you. And then someone showing you that I'm thinking about you is such a huge trigger for you because you love them. Yeah. You love them so much. So them thinking about you, it's a big deal. And then you find yourself going back. So they're those small things. And I think they differ from person to person. Me, there are some things I would tell you in a relationship I will not accept. And there are people who will think, it's fine. I'm okay with that. So I think when we clear the basics of don't allow someone to cheat on you and let it slide, don't allow people to beat you up, don't allow people to manipulate you because of money or even emotions and all that. Those are the basics. Then these other, they're tailored from person to person. You really can't tell that you should not be there are those small things then you always dictate a relationship that is not yours. Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. So I was listening to some material from some relationship expert. So he was she was actually saying one of the most not Darren is not a relationship expert. He's not.
No, I am. Thank you very much. There is school fees to be paid. Yeah, thank you for giving me credit.
Anyway, so she listed a few items, and I wanted us to go through them, and also we can say if we've seen ourselves being in those scenarios. One of the things that she says are a marker of a toxic relationship is, in fact, she calls it dangerous love. Is intensity. So we'll go one by one. So let's look at intensity, where she's saying, she says, whenever you find someone is being so clingy, you find someone is like hakupatii at a space, like ako hapo tu ana breathe your air. You've not been apart for one day and they are over texting you. When you delay in texting back, they are always those kind of insecurities. What do you think?
I think there should be like a balance, or you guys can have like a sit down and talk about a few things, because like she said, every relationship is different and it's two people. So I think some of these things happen because we are different personalities, and whatever I like may be something which is an issue to your side. So I think having a compromise in a relationship is very important.
On this issue of someone being so clingy and being very ataki kukupatia hata space, have you been in those kinds of relationship where you feel suffocated and you honestly think that is a toxic situation?
Well, I want to give an example. Before I met the guru, who is here with me, I was dating someone, and I think before I met that person, I was more of what guru was when I met him in this way. So I met this person, and I'm very independent. I do things alone. I'll take my bags and go. You know, most of the time, even my own parent will be like, "Oh, you're traveling," because they've seen my bags. Ziko sitting room waiting to go. You know,
Yeah.
I didn't tell Jana that, Mom, I might be going to Rwanda tomorrow. You know, she'll see the bags. She's like, "Unaenda wapi?" "Oh, I'm going to Rwanda."
Hey.
"Oh, okay." To do what? Kutembea tu. You know. And then I met this person who, tukiachana hivi, akiniambia, "Let me know when you get home." Me, I'm used to, nime get home. No one asked me. Nili get to Rwanda. No one asked me. Oh, I arrived safely in Dubai. No one asked me. Nili arrive. Donna photos, okay? Nili arrive. I won't bother telling someone that I got here. And him, he was so bothered that I don't tell him nimefika. And it took me a long time to understand why it was such a bother to him. Because all this while, when I'm not telling him kama nilifika, him for some weird reason, he had this negative that something happened to her. Something happened. And most of the time, he would actually jump on a mat and come back home.
Hey.
To come make sure that I'm fine.
Wow.
Maybe I got home, I was too sleepy, and my
phone died or whatever.
I slept.
Ukaiacha sito.
Nitasikia maybe caretaker ako like, "Sarah, kuna mtu anakutafuta hapa chini." I'm like, And then he's like, "Why didn't you tell me you got home?" And I'm like, "Dude, what do you mean?" It took me a long time. Now coming to date this guy. This guy that I was dating before has already made me realize the importance of telling him that I'm home. You know, he wants to make sure I'm safe. And then I come meet this guy. The guy who 1 minute is in Nairobi, the next is in Nakuru. You know? And I'm like, "Dude, uliniambia unaenda Kawangware, uliniambia unafanya nini Nakuru?"
Kutoka barabara. Niliona imeandikwa Nairobi Nakuru highway.
Unafanya nini Nakuru?
Kasema wacha nikule kona hapo. Lakini sasa hiyo kona sikuiona.
So this guy, I think we fought about, not really fight, but we've argued about this for a long time. This guy tells me nimeenda kuchill na Moreti. The next minute, unajua tulitoka na Skippy, sijui tukaenda wapi. Skippy mlitoa na wapi? Mlitoa na wapi na Skippy? Why didn't you tell me?
Skippy alininusa.
You know?
Akaniona.
I really struggled because he just does things. He's safe, he's okay. But me on the other hand, I want you to tell me. Nimetoka Kinoo sasa. I'm on my way to... Yes. I'm on my way to Mountain View. I'm on my way to Kawangware. That's enough. Juicy. 2 weeks ago, I think. Nigga tells me he's going to Kawangware to get what? Some stuff we needed for the house. When he comes back, unajua tulienda kutafuta sijui nyumba Kitengela for my which relative. And I'm like,
the thing.
So Kawangware.
In my defense, if there's a lawyer, please contact us because we need some papers signed before we sign the official ones.
So essentially,
So let me finish. So essentially what I'm saying is I became this person who I want to know, where are you? Because in my mind I'm thinking, if something happens in Kitengela, me I'll be like, my boyfriend is in Kawangware. Okay? My man is in Kawangware. So whatever happens in Kitengela,
stays in Kitengela.
Yes, doesn't concern me.
Yeah.
But then he's there. And maybe he's not safe. Or he needs me to do something to get him out of a situation, you know. So that made me, that person I was dating, that I failed to understand that time. And then now this guy is also failing to understand me right now. It's been a process. It's been so hard to get him to understand why I want you to tell me when you move from a place to a place. I'm not trying to be all in your space. I just want to know that if Westgate is being attacked, my boyfriend was in Westgate. then that's where we start the search.
It starts
You
the
get?
search, yeah.
Yes.
So essentially, what you're saying is, even this issue of intensity
Yes.
is very subjective.
Yes.
It's very specific on the individual relationship.
Demands, like someone's need.
Yes.
My need for me is to know where you are so
Yeah.
that I know you're safe or not.
But now, where's the
But there are
balance?
some people whom maybe they want you to text all the time for them to know maybe you're not doing something with someone else. Coming from a very dark and insecure place, honestly, I wouldn't say it's a safe habit or it's a good habit to encourage. Yeah, it's not healthy. So, but it comes from somewhere. And I think people should talk about, where is this coming from? Why do you always feel the need to text me 24/7? At first, this guy used to call me a lot and he never used to find me. I'm that chick. I'm home, my phone iko huko. He doesn't find me. You know, and he really struggled with it. Mpaka nikamuuliza, nini, why is it so
A big deal.
yeah, why is it a big deal for you that if you call me you do not find me, even though I'll call you back maybe after 2 to 6 hours?
Or
I'll call back.
3 to 6, business.
I will call back. Dude, what is it? And then I came to realize it's so important for him
Yeah.
that when he calls me, he finds
He finds
me.
you, yeah.
See, it's coming from
Balance,
somewhere.
balance.
Yeah, balance,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So I think the intensity, it's also very subjective. So realize why are you like this? Why do you want to know where I am? Why do you always text me all the time? Why do you always show up to my events uninvited? Nani alikuita?
So
You know?
essentially, that aspect of having to balance out the communication,
Yes.
and also at the same time being able to
No way,
communicate.
no way it's coming
Yes,
from.
being able
Like,
to communicate
yeah.
and get to that balance.
Yes.
Okay.
It's really
About that. One, you see what she's saying about not being that communication bit, yeah? It's really true, because if you look at it from my point of view, the way the ex used to want her to say, I've
Communicate,
arrived
yeah.
to know you're safe. Now, for me, I believe in communication when it's not safe. Like,
Ah.
if you reach out, then I'll know. Basi
There's a
kulikuwa na
problem,
ngori. But if everything is a bit quiet sometimes, unless the timelines have passed a long, yeah, that's when I'll know that maybe there was a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where's the balance? Balance.
So it's very important
Yes.
to communicate, to establish now
Yes.
meeting each other halfway.
Yes. Now, what do you do? Just to finish on that, what do you do? I realize that's what she wants. So nowadays, I try as much as possible to say nimepitia hapa, even just by text, yeah. At least ajue, because I'm that person who I'll not know my next move. Things will move, things will happen. As in, so long as I'm not doing anything wrong. But now to come back on the issue of toxicity, there's someone who made me like that. You see, because maybe I was overly careful, overly asking about stuff, but the person didn't care to reciprocate. So I was like, you know what? I can't swear on yeah, but I'm like, you know what?
This family radio.
Watch I kai, you know, get. So those things over time you get, because I feel the toxicities that we also acquire in relationships by virtue of being with people. There are things you get that you do not know. Like this we're not talking about relationships, but this relationship has made me realize how I'm not a good person, how I still need to work on myself. There are times I used to wake up and I was like, this girl will be better off alone than being with someone like me. And you see, we've not had fights whereby we fight until things are being thrown, or as we argue. The way we are talking like this is the way we argue. Yeah. So you see, I realized that there's so many things about my life I didn't work on, but I realized there's so much of my exes that gave me so much toxicity, and I gave them some of them as well. It's the two-way street, but I think I acquired so much toxicity. Too much. Too much. Yeah.
And I think maybe what she said before, there's that aspect of, there's something I read about behavior and personality. It's easier to tell someone to correct a behavior, for instance, not texting. But when you question someone's like fundamental personality, that's where the toxicity usually comes in. So maybe it's something ingrained, like maybe if it's growing up, if it's past relationships. There's something like we were talking earlier about, if your masculinity is pegged on doing certain things. If it's you're only supposed to bring money to the house, and then she's telling you take care of the baby. You're like, ni nini?
Yeah.
Well, ni nini, wewe?
So in a question, like a fundamental part of your personality.
Yeah.
So maybe that you bringing in that toxic bit of it. Yeah.
To agree also, as we finish on this particular point, that we need to communicate. There's something that I think we quote Jordan Peterson so much on our podcast, but he's a very profound man. There's something he says that you cannot get anywhere in terms of even creating relationship without risking to offend. You need to be able to risk to offend the other person for them to know where the boundary is, for example, for them to know if you're only teetering on the good times and you're not and you're stomaching so much bile and anger just to not offend the other person, you are essentially killing the relationship. Yes, exactly. So it's very, very critical that even as we find that balance, that you communicate and risk being offensive for the health and welfare of the relationship. The other point that the lady also raises, point number 2, is isolationism. As where how you are able to tell that the relationship is being toxic is the person will kind of want you to get out of your support system. The person is trying to make you hate your family. Is telling you your family is doesn't want us to prosper. Is telling you your friends are terrible. Isolation is, they want you to be the two of you only. And isolationism never created a rounded person. Isolationism never created a healthy, even psychologically, person. I don't know if you've had any experiences with this kind of a thing, or what your opinion might be on that issue. Yeah.
I don't think I've been in such a situation, honestly. I think I'm too strong-willed to ever let someone isolate me. That I would like. There are some things I'm just so strong on. I'm like, this ain't happening. So the moment you realize someone is isolating you from your own family, from your friend, all of a sudden, like before, when you start dating someone, they're like, oh, your friends, they're happy to meet them, blah, blah. And then as you're getting deeper, they start telling you, I don't like this friend of yours. You need to stop seeing them. And then you're wondering, hey, Buddha, I thought you liked this person. I thought you were happy that they're my friend. And then all of a sudden now it's an issue.
Yeah.
As a human being, you should understand that socializing, it's a basic human need. Well, somehow basic. It's somewhere up there in the
it is very central.
Yeah, it is. We are very social. So, so that's like it's actually an abusive act to actually isolate someone, because you're taking away a basic need from them.
Yes, something very central.
It's very central to who
we are as human
beings. So I think that's a good point for people to note. In case someone who feels gray about, I don't know if this is healthy or not, they should actually understand that someone who isolates you, that's someone who doesn't have the best interest at heart for you.
And it's actually very true, because I have a friend of mine who started dating this guy. It was the guy was insecure about some friends she had. These friends, they've had them since they were in high school. Like, you've curated your entire life around this particular clique. But then this guy who shows up yesterday wants you to throw away your entire support structure that you've established over very many years, that has helped you even maintain your when you're stressed, the people that you
your
go
sanity.
to, when things get thick, the people that you run to, this person comes. So now the question becomes, who do you pick? Here is someone that you really feel very strongly about, and also here is another group of people that have a very critical, I would say, because as you're saying, socializing and having a support system is very central to who we are as human beings. Yeah. So do you keep yourself bottled on this side, just the two of you, where now everybody else is the enemy, Nobody wants to nini. For example, now I'll give you an example. If I see my friend is in a toxic relationship, and I tell my friend that I think you need to be careful about this, I'm not attacking the relationship. I'm just looking out for my friend. And this toxic person that I construe as being toxic might say, no, Kelvin is not good. He wants the worst for us. So where do you go as a person? Which side do you choose?
I think when it comes to choosing, you decide what's enough for you. When I started dating this guy, I think we've been together for so long. He's become a good friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, guru. Yeah, when I say this guy, I'm referring to guru.
Yeah.
So, when I started dating him, and then Corona happened, and then it just became us two most of the time. Yes, we have our families and friends, but we were not seeing them at that moment because isolation and quarantine and all that stuff. So he became a friend. He became mostly everything, a friend, a support, whatever, a boyfriend, all those things. When you're making a decision between my family, friends, and this guy, you decide, is this guy enough? Is he a good friend? Is he all these things that I've been getting from this side? And can I just have this guy and these people at the same time? If it's not, then are these people better than this guy? Then you choose. You know, if you're able to choose between the two, sawa. If you're not able to choose and you'd rather keep them both and there's no harmony, then just walk away. Walk away from this relationship. It can disrupt your entire existence, you know. Just walk away from this relationship.
And honestly, to me, it's a very big red flag when someone is asking you to choose. Like it's not only disrespectful, but it's also sounds vindictive. There's someone who wants you to destroy. It's like, for example, these pastors who wanakuombea and then wanakuambia wote kukunywa dawa za HIV ati umepona. Like, no, God is using these drugs to heal me.
Yeah.
You know. So I honestly do believe that anyone who is able to get to a place where they are asking you to choose, that is a very, very big red flag. And do you honestly believe, I'm asking this, do you honestly believe that a relationship that is just the two of you against the world is really a healthy relationship? Do you think...
Okay, maybe not to answer what you asked. But also, I think the flip side is also true that there are people who will also want to be in those toxic relationships because of their own insecurities. So you will go and tell them, oh, you don't see this guy is manipulating you. But maybe to that person, that's how they identify that love being. So that bit of you trying to know yourself also is very important. So I don't know how I can explain it. I think maybe for our generation, stuff like therapy and all that has become, maybe it's easier to do. Kitambo, our parents and all that wouldn't do stuff like that. But maybe if you feel... I'm going from one toxic relationship to another, controlling guys. I am only attracted to guys who are controlling. Yeah, you should search yourself and maybe maybe there's a problem with me and how I approach love and stuff like that.
Plus, I think people should also differentiate someone who's highlighting things you've not been seeing in your friends, which are toxic, or even your family, from someone who's just being vindictive, that, like you're saying, they just want you to stop seeing your friends. They just want you to stop visiting your families. There's a difference. Someone will come, highlight some things you've not been seeing, and they let you decide. They won't push you into a decision. Yes, they will just highlight them. Like, do you see this and this? What do you think? What do you feel about them? Do you think it's healthy for you or not? And then you decide. And there's this other person who just doesn't want you to have friends because they want you to be isolated so that they can manipulate you. It will be easier for them to control you without all these other voices telling you your worth and what you know. You're a king. You're a queen. Queens should not be treated like that. Yeah, all those. Yeah, you're the prize. Yeah.
Anyway, so we've talked about intensity, isolation. The third point that we are talking about is jealousy. So jealousy is essentially where you are looking to make sure that your person is your person. I would say how you see how a dog or a lion will have, this is my area. So if anything else comes in, it's a problem. But now the thing as with all things, moderation is key.
Exactly.
Yes.
when you say that, what I can say about that is, well, she said it's a bit healthy, but you see, I feel jealousy goes down to personality. You knowing me as a person, you'll know I'm a very, not even strong-willed. Like, I don't get into someone's business, don't get into mine. And there's some extent of ukiona, maybe, okay, like for her, I'll tell you for a fact, yeah. There are times, even after I've started dating, you know, some ladies have been friendly, and I'll tell you, my IG account is on her phone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, me, I don't hide, not get.
Yeah.
Like, and you know, the way, I'm never afraid to tell a lady who's a friend of mine that I'm a post photo that anakaa fiti. I'm not afraid. I get. Kwanza mimi wale naeka zile tumoto. Fire. I get. Because na utaona dem ame like your comment, na check kama aseme thanks. Because it's as far as it goes, yeah. You know yourself personally. You know where you can get, what you can do. But honestly, if I talk about jealousy, I wouldn't allow myself to get to a point where I feel like I'm going to, you know me, it's two things. I walk in or I walk out. And it's very easy for me to walk out than to walk in. Very simple. I'll find my drug to help me move with the pain or anything. And my drug being anything, can be traveling, can be poison. Can be what?
No, don't take poison.
So long as it makes you move, yeah?
Yeah.
And that's what I normally try to use to move on from that, because there are things I'll never allow myself to do. When I get. So when it comes to jealousy, I feel there's that bit part that, of course, like today she was telling me, you know, like after everything she was telling me, like today I was like, yeah, good, look good, yeah. Hata akitoka sasa namwambia enda uwakunywe. Hata ikwange literally ningesikia ni literally
Hiko seda.
Bas wewe nimekublock.
But you see, the thing again with jealousy, and I think where it becomes toxic is where, for example, now your partner is continuously thinking that you're cheating. Like if akiona umepost your motto, like, no, don't do that. Like, you cannot have lady friends. You know, why are you? I'm your best friend. You know, have you been in those kinds of situations, and what do you think?
There's a guy who was ever, just a slight comment, there's a guy who was ever wrote my girlfriend a very long text. Akimkatia, na to reply tukiwa wote.
I wanted to say, ukiona neka fire on someone who is light skin, like, oh, you're into light skins now, eh? Oh, you're into big asses, eh? No, you know, that's crazy. But I think there's like I said initially, there's a level of good jealousy. Like, I'm claiming you as my person, and yeah, there's some things I just don't want you to do. But someone can't have lady friends or can't have guy friends. I think I made sure before I deliver, I made sure this guy knows all my male friends, all of them. Yes.
She's brought a very good point where I feel I was a bit friendly to my female friends. I was a bit friendly, and she had to highlight it out, because as much as it was innocence, there's a way you can depict your partner to look like. Unaget. Unaweza sema, mse wa unani anakuanga, mbona lazima nijishikie mic? Kwani point ni moto aje? That being too friendly, I realized maybe it wasn't so good. It may be innocent, yeah? But even those people, they know it's innocent, but there's a way you'll make your partner to look like. Unaget. And I had to stop. You get? Not that being overly friendly and everything, and it wasn't a good thing. So you just have to also watch how you're going to go about such things, how you're going to, like, that boundary. Yeah, I know, yeah. Yeah, show me the point, that boundary.
So I feel like there's the good jealousy, like she said, and the bad jealousy. But the bad jealousy comes in as a result, I think, of our experiences. Because probably I was dating a guy who was flirting with every lady. So, yes. So if...
Yes, too much.
Even the slightest flashing.
Yeah, we are together, as in your mind. You're mine.
Even the slightest is not allowed.
So
that's too much. Even that little is too much. Yeah.
So I feel like it comes from the insecurities we had from either our previous relationships or somewhere. And that's why I feel like probably like what he was doing, if he puts the fire in another person's pots, I'm thinking, are they also flirting? I'll be tempted to even go to his phone and check, because probably this is what I went through in my other relationship. I'm feeling it's not a place I'd want to be. So I feel like they said we need to first understand each other. What are we comfortable with? And are we honest with each other in this relationship? So that even if I do something, the first thing that will come into your mind is not that I'm cheating, I'm flirting. You'll take it as if, he liked the photo because probably she's beautiful or whatever. So I think that creating the boundaries and assuring your partner, like we are here, it's serious between us. I'm not like one leg
Us
inside and then the other one
Isolation.
is outside. It's a relationship where we respect each other, where I know if I do this, I'll offend you, or if I do the other thing, I'll offend you. So I think it's a very thin line, but it's very good when both of you are on the same page. Yes.
So
Madam MD, ni kama umesoma sana.
msichana amesoma.
I feel like I'm the least learned. My God, guys here are voting points and points. Like, I'm sorry, guys, take me slow.
But
so, wengine wetu hatujasoma sana.
But I would say that yes, jealousy. So on this point, jealousy is very healthy. Jealousy helps you know that your person is your person. Helps you set that boundary that no, you can't do that because we are dating. But if it's to the extremities of you stalking me, you coming to my place of work.
I want a question about stalking.
Sorry?
I want a question about stalking.
Yes,
Bring it, my friend. Bring it.
So now the next point actually now, as a point of that is now the stalking issue, where someone has become so jealous that they are now continuously now stalking you and making you feel like you have to continuously watch your back. Have you had an experience?
100%.
Take us through it, sir.
I can take you through it. Do you have time? About stalking, yeah. Mm-hmm. I realized when I finished high school, one of my like I don't know. Okay. I just think I have like 3 exes. Yeah, only 3. But talking about that, there's a point I realized there's one of my girlfriends, my exes, that long ago, talking about early 2012, 13, that was a stalker. Yeah. And I'd say akaanza kunipatia some stalking tendencies. But good thing I realized it, because stalking is an addiction. It's just like masturbation. It's just like drugs. It's just like, it's something, and you need to know, because once you become that, then it becomes bad. But then I've really been stalked in my relationship. Honestly, one day my ex may hear this story or anything about of that sort, but I've been stalked. I've gotten to a point where I've been stalked up to the DCI. It became something very crazy. The only thing that made me get through that, I got to a point I was being stalked, and I used to tell my friends. Like, I started telling, like, I remember a very good friend of mine, she's a chick. I told her, like, there's someone who's stalking me. Someone who's following me, and let me not even say stalking. Then I also told my brother. I didn't tell her initially because I didn't want to raise anything. Up to today, she doesn't know the full story about how it went. But you got to
by her, you mean your girlfriend? You didn't tell your yes.
Would I be meaning my dog?
You see, we are not on TV, so they don't know.
I get it. Yeah. So. Okay. I'm talking as if someone has followed this from the beginning, so they know I'm here with someone. But anyway, that thing became bad. It became crazy, and I only realized I was being stalked because I'm a programmer as well. Being that kind of a person, then you secure yourself. You get. So when anyone try to get to me, I'll know. Like any breach to me, I normally know. Like I've protected myself so much, and any breach to me, I'll always tell. Like I can tell if someone is trying to breach.
Infiltrate.
Yeah, so I realized someone is trying to breach me, and I kept on wondering. The location on my phone was always on. And I was wondering why this particular phone, my location was always being turned on. I'm someone who never has my location on unless I'm using Uber, and I use Uber like once in a year or never. So why is my location on? So doing your small checks, I realized, wow, there's someone who was following me. Now, when I realized someone was following me, honestly, I even had to sought help of another friend of mine who was very good in telecommunications. And we had to sit down, and I told him, I need to know who's following me. I really need to know. May not really be following me physically, but there's someone who's wanting to know my... And we did something with him, and I came and realized this person, and I got his number, and I called him. And I realized this is someone who works for... I don't know whether this podcast is going to put me in trouble, but you're using one of the government organs. You get? So you're using a point of privilege to track me down because of what? I haven't killed someone.
So this is an ex who's stuck up on you. Someone who...
I wouldn't say stuck up, but for whatever reason, I do not know. Yeah? I really don't want to speculate and put somebody on the spot because someone may say that, oh, we alikuwa na... And for the record, I'm not a perfect person. I also had my mistakes. I have very big mistakes. Yeah? But with life, always learn. Like when that relationship, the one that ended, I was very key in being very apologetic for the things I was big on that. The things I made mistakes. But one of the reasons it ended, just to say it, is because, like I told you, my way is one. Like mimi
Ananga reverse gear.
Mimi sinanga reverse gear. Barabara yangu ni mbele. So she was a bit wondering why I didn't give a second chance. But I'm not about second chances, honestly. And I don't mind if someone doesn't give me a second chance. Don't give me a second chance. I won't give you a second chance. And by second chances, I mean to some things. Like there's a limit. Your limit. I'm not saying like second chances, that way nimekukosea. You get, those are things I'll give a million chances. But there are things for me, it gets to a point, and I felt it got to a point I was disrespected as a person. And I don't want to talk about her profession, but by virtue of a profession, being a programmer, you're looked at, like, she looked at me maybe and my profession like something. She once made a comment during those whole arguments. I was like, what's she telling me? So actually, the degree you have in that profession, I had a first class in computer science, doesn't make you become different from me. Like I felt so disrespected.
And actually, one of the when it comes to those markers that we are talking about, the like very toxic relationships, is
manipulation.
We'll come to that. It is the next one.
Yes, I won't even speak about that right now until you get to it. But that's what I'm saying. So you see, when that happened, so we were back to this guy. So when I called this guy, I'm like, I've realized, the guy hung up on me the first time. Like what I'm saying, it looks like a joke, but it's real. Like ni movie. Hata mimi mwenyewe kuna time nakwambia, my friends, I used to tell my friends so that such that if anything happened to me, I passed a word. Because I started becoming afraid. This is a government organ. We know, I'm not in any way trashing our country, but we know how these things happen around, yeah? So the second time called the guy, hung up again. That time I called him, I was like, man, I'm realizing it's like where you're pinging is where I'm pinging. And I don't want to say what the guy told me, because it will be more of such an exposure. But I told him, like, just don't. What have I done? Is there any mistake I've done? Anything wrong? Is there something wrong? If there's something wrong, take me, let's follow the right procedures. I'm not a lawbreaker. But the person was very clean and told me about it, and I was like, wow.
So he told you the lady I
don't want to say the lady told her or somebody told her. I would want to censor that part because you're going to be big in this podcast. My voice will be there for the rest of our lives.
Yeah, we are hoping.
And anything that goes on the internet never forgets. Yeah. But what I'll say is, the person told me, and I was like, I told the person, do you feel like it's necessary? Like, have I? And the person was very understanding. But until today, it's not something I've come. It's even made me become a bit more paranoid. You see, things like that happen to you and they make you, nowadays, security, even up to her. This is somebody who went and Googled who I'm dating to want to know her. To a point, I was with her in Malindi for her birthday last year. And the person tells me, you're in Malindi.
Wow.
That's crazy. You can ask her. Like, she'll tell you. Yeah. We were there until I told her, you know what? Put your accounts private. Nene, I had to put all of us on a VPN. You get? Because how did you even get to... Just because someone has posted a photo then now you're knowing like you're in money, like why are you investigating my
Why
life so much?
Yeah, that must have been a very toxic relationship. Were there signs during the relationship that looked toxic?
Unfortunately for me, I don't look at someone in that kind of way. I give someone a leeway. You're someone I'm dating. You
Benefit of the doubt.
Benefit of doubt. But when I sat down, that was in...
When you look back now,
when I look back...
Do you see like there were some signs of toxicity?
Weren't there. Weren't there. And I know why they weren't there. Because of her profession, which I won't say, but that will be off the record.
Yeah.
But I feel this is somebody who
had mastered
she
the
called
art.
me manipulative, yeah? I was called manipulative, yeah? But I sat down and looked at it and I was like, no.
I'm not.
Honestly, I don't think I was I'm not saying I was clean 100%.
But you're not the manipulative one.
The manipulation I was taken through, I realized it was a bit much.
And actually now...
Like it was a lot.
Now that you've brought up the issue of manipulation, actually...
It was a lot.
It's our next point of toxic relationships, manipulation and belittling someone, where you weaponize your words.
Tell me about it.
Where you weaponize your words and sorry to say this, but ladies have mastered the art. No, listen, hear me out. No. Our ladies, let me take that back. Yeah. In the sense that ladies are ready at the readies.
Yeah.
Hey,
Okay, come here. We know how you're in charge of the CJ.
Sisi kama wameru tuambiwi. Okay. Anyway, so ladies can be very good at weaponizing words. They can be very surgical. The precision that they can use to get, they know where it hurts the most. And I think for a man, like, those kinds of statements that hata sijui nini naonanga in you, like
they attack the personality.
Yes, exactly. When you attack someone's personality, it really drives you to the edge. And of course, in healthy relationship, a little bit of banter is not bad. Hey baby, leo kwani chai ni ndefu, vitu kaa hizo.
Mbona si fupi?
Chai ndefu ni nini kijana?
Najua, unasema unauliza mbona si fupi.
Mbona chai ya leo si fupi? Si mwala leo umetupikia nani mrefu? Anyway, so that is not bad. But when it becomes the marker for the relationship, I think that's a very toxic place where you realize that even you're continuously for example now, how manipulation actually I think works. I don't have very good experience.
You're not experienced, please, my friend.
Yes, I'm not very experienced, but what happens is that you find that someone will say something very negative, something very really, really bad, and then they will apologize, and then they will come with flowers, and then they will do all these sweet little things, and they will promise you they are going to change, and then they will, that's how manipulation works. I've already caused you a lot of hurt, and then I seek up solution very quickly on it, and it becomes a pattern, a continuous pattern, right? And where you're weaponizing words, where words are supposed to be affirming, words are supposed to be encouraging, and now you're using them as weapons. There's nothing as potent as words. Words have caused wars around the world, right? Even the Bible warns us about the power of the tongue, right? So that's how powerful words are. And I think this toxicity actually is not just even in just relationships with your partners, but also in our parents, how you're bringing up your child.
Even in workplaces.
Even in the workplaces, where I remember that speaking of workplaces, I used to work for an Indian company, and at the time I didn't know.
He didn't have to say Indian.
Yeah. No. I am saying Indian because I feel like there is a pattern. There's a certain pattern that Indian employers many times usually have in this country. I don't know about outside the country. Indians who are listening to this podcast, I'm sorry, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Anyway, so I'm saying this. I remember I used to have bouts of like depression and anxiety. like during the time I was working there, and it's not like anyone used to shout at me or do anything to me.
Always on the edge.
Yes, you're always
Tell
on
me
the
about
edge.
it.
And then the moment I left that company and came to this other company, I stayed for a period of like 6 months with no anxiety attacks, and the depression bouts have gone. And then I was thinking something has definitely changed. And then I realized it was the workplace. Because if you're in a workplace where the MD one day can say, I am going, like the slaves you are. You know, when someone uses those kinds of words where he thinks that he's your king and he's always shouting and he's always screaming, that's how potent words are. So I can imagine now being in a relationship where someone is continuously engaging in that kind of a warfare.
Yes. Now, when you're talking about that, Moretti, this thing becomes so bad, yeah? Because I realized there's once in my previous relationship, they'd traveled with her family. So I'm in Nairobi, yeah? You've traveled with your family. And I happened to, you know, the way you're in the house, it's a weekend and you're asleep, you know, you've stepped out a bit, you've come home, you've slept up with the wee hours of the morning, before Corona. And you wake up I woke up, I think, at around 1 p.m., you know. Woke up at 1 p.m. Of course, I was tired. You haven't charged your phone. Then you realize your phone is like at 5%. Then you wake up, no electricity. KPLC have done the thing.
Yeah.
Which they always do.
On brand.
On brand. And you realize there's no electricity. And, you know, you're just like, whatevs, man. Because, you know, you're just trying to figure out what day it is. What is your name?
Yeah.
And then the time electricity comes back, you've put your phone on. And someone is so mad at you, is like, I don't know why this is, and I'm like, honestly, what did I do? You get? And you see, the problem with me is you accuse me of something I've not done. You're already creating a rift between me and you. So it goes, this guy, I don't know why I'm seated very in front of very wise people. You guys are just removing points. But this guy talked about attacking personality. For me, that is it. You attack my personality, that's it. You get? Because I don't go overstepping on people. So when you come and attack the personality, it becomes a bit bad, yeah? So imagine in such a scenario, you're very innocent.
Yeah.
Nothing has happened.
Yeah, you didn't do anything.
You haven't done anything. In fact, you're just trying to figure out what day is it. And you find your phone comes on, you put it on, and someone is texted you, and I'm like, what's all this? And what you're saying, like where you're working, you're always going to be in those, like, I felt I used to, you know, like being me, where you just go, my phone will always be somewhere. But at that time, I would always be like, we may be seated having this conversation. I'm like, fuck, where's my phone? Because I don't want to find someone has texted me, called me, and never found me, because itabidi kuna kesi ya kujibu. And I don't have to feel like that in a relationship.
Yeah. You don't need to feel like
but that's what I used to feel. Like, nipate text, I've not taken some time to respond, and it's an issue. You get? And 100% of the times, it was because of nothing that was harmful to the relationship. And that was where I decided, you know what, I'm going to walk. And I know she didn't see it coming, but I felt it was too much for me. It was too much for me. And even in this is not about relationship, but in my current relationship, there were still issues. Of course, you know, we were still talking. It brought issues in my current relationship. But I had to come up very strongly and be like, fine, I made a mistake here. I made a mistake. I've accepted all my mistakes, you get. But I was like, it's time. It's done. Okay? Because it was more, and there's another whole point I'll bring about. I don't know how safe I feel about bringing it up. But you know, when someone can be manipulative in a way until they make you feel like you have to be there for them. And someone feels like, I'm going to do this, so you always like, no, don't do this. So I used to always be like, don't, it's not worth it. It's not, if I was someone who I felt, after looking at it, if I was someone who was so bad, I'd be like, go ahead, do it. I don't care. But I was on the forefront, don't. It's not worth it. You have a good future. You have a good life ahead of you. It's not all about me. I'm 6,000% sure I told her I'm not the best person you'll ever meet. That is putting yourself down and putting that person first.
So it's essentially actually manipulation to the point where someone is playing with your
Exactly.
with your emotions. Someone
Exactly.
is playing with your,
and they know what will make you
tick.
Exactly.
What will make your spark fly.
Exactly.
And using that again, and you see, one of the reasons why sometimes I'm a bit skeptical. Not skeptical. Let me not say skeptical. Relationships essentially means vulnerability. It essentially means exposing all your weaknesses and your insecurities to someone, and that is a lot of power. That is a massive amount of power that you're shifting from yourself and giving to this other person, and this person can use it however they want. If you're lucky, you get someone who's going to nurture those insecurities, someone who's going to tolerate those insecurities. But if you're unlucky, you will get someone who is going to anika them in public. I remember there's this song by Sauti Sol where they say madeni zangu
kazitangaza mitandaoni.
Inaitwa aje song?
Soba.
Si soba. Na madeni zangu, yeah, that song.
Soba.
It's called Soba. Yes. Now that song where your partner has gone and spilled all your insecurities and your secrets in the public. It's a very strong and potent weapon that the person has. And so, and I'm saying when now you realize that your person is continuously using these insecurities to poke at them, ati hata unakuanga mfupi sana, ufupi yako hata sijui kusiumee.
Hata unakuanga 0.5 GB.
Like wow. Kama
mimi. Wow. Swendo kule simiti.
Okay. Unajifanyanga mwerevu na hata ulipata C+. Wanaume wengine hapa wanajenga manyumba, wewe kazi yako hapa ni like those kinds of two statements. So when you realize, and maybe you just told your wife, manze, my friend manze amejenga nyumba juzi, manze, I feel like I should also do something, and then anakuja anaitumia against you. That is a very bad sign of a toxic relationship.
When you're talking about using words against you, it was always a big part of our argument, because I realized, again, by virtue of a profession, when the way I can say something, and then, or not necessarily me, but mostly used to emanate from her side. She says something. Then when I'm like, but you, I was like, no, I did not say this. I said this. And it means, and I'm like, why are we policing a relationship? You get,
like, this is not a court of law.
When you're talking in a relationship, I'm not supposed to give you puns and expect you to decipher it. Like, let's be easy. Like, direct to the point. So when I say this, and then you're like, I used to be all the time, I'm like, wow.
That is exactly what I did not say.
That's exactly what I did not say. Like, how you took it in that way, or
how.
And mostly it used to be about what you said, because Angesema, for example, I'm not saying this is what she did, but I'm saying, for example, Angesema, maybe. Let's say, let's do this, and she's like, maybe. And I'm like, you said maybe. I'm like, yeah, I said maybe. I didn't say I will. Maybe is not.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay. You get my point?
Yeah.
But just to divert from that, the reason why, as a man, I got the person I'm dating right now, and I decided that is the person, it's because I realized the most important things that hit my core as a man, they were ticked. You get this, because what I want for me is not what you want for you. But when those things were ticked, and I sat down and I evaluated myself, and I realized my toxic behaviors, that the toxic I was put through, the toxic I was put through, and everything, and we analyzed them, I decided I need to become a better person, because I'm not a good person. And you see, even online, you'll see somebody like there's celebrities we have, a story will leak about them, Some people are very quick to go and roast people online, but if it was done of their life as well, you'd realize that we have done the same things, Exactly. And people are normally very quick to do that. And at no point have I ever felt like I'm a good person. I've made my mistakes, honestly. But for someone to use those things against you and make you feel in that kind of way, like my friend Kabingwa said, those are things that hit your personality. And I realized I dented my personality so much, and I realized I used to use some ways to try and heal myself when I was actually supposed to be healing as a person.
Exactly. And there's a very strong point the lady said, that in a relationship, yes, you are supposed to, it's not therapy. Relationship, I'm not here to give you therapy only for your past life. I also need to feel loved. So if you're finding that all you're doing is damage control for what the exes did, for what they're insecure about all the time, like you and I think it's something that also has so I can be very insecure, honestly. Is it safe to put in the internet that I am insecure? Okay. Okay.
It's okay, Kelvin.
Anyway,
it's growth.
Yes. But anyway, when someone has insecurities and you're always finding that you're playing the therapist, that you other aspect of the relationships are not being met, like affirmation, like, telling someone to love them, that encouraging one another. Also, that's something you could also check. You also need to make sure that in that relationship situation, your how do I put this? Your needs also, it should be a symbiotic relationship. It's not only directed in one direction. You're looking to cater for the needs of that other person, but also how are your needs also in this particular situation also being addressed? And the Christian approach, the Christian view of relationship is essentially you addressing fully the issues of that person, giving your life for that person as Christ did, and hopefully that other person will also reciprocate that particular action. But in many times you find that might not always be the case. It might be one person. It might be very, very unidirectional, and that breeds a very, very toxic relationship that I think is not good.
I'm always of the idea that I think we can arrest so many things when they happen at first. Because
finish your point, but I have something to differ there.
I think I have been manipulative at some point, and also some people updated have also been manipulative. But when I look back, I think I realized that if we had arrested the situation the first times it happened, I feel like we would have prevented ourselves from, healing from so many things or so many conversations which we would have had in the first instances. Something else, I think most guys are not good in having conversations, very hard conversations. That's why those memes of, when the lady says we need to talk, he's drinking water with a spoon and all those things. Because I feel like guys avoid tough conversations, which
boys avoid tough conversation.
Guys avoid hard conversations, which I think communication is very key. Like everything can be, or most things can be solved through communication and listening to your partner and getting what they mean when they say something. It's not looking at it from always your point of view, such that if they say something, then whatever you've understood is what they meant. So having these conversations, I feel, is very important. And then the other thing I think which is making us even more manipulative is you've pushed me to the edge, and now I've realized I can walk away, anytime. So even if it's happening, I don't have to have this conversation with you, as in I'm done. In my mind, I'm thinking, if this happens, I'm already on my way out, which I feel like it's something we can work on, and to avoid these manipulations in relationship and so many issues in relationships. Yes.
Just by communicating.
Yes.
2 points. The first point, why I agree with you, but I don't agree with you. Okay, why I don't agree with you, but I agree with you, is that thing about arresting, very true. I agree with it because if I'm a violent person, sometimes there are symptoms that need arresting. Yeah. For example, I take you out on a date, and I'm with the waiter there, and the waiter is like, analeta food and call like, "When nini? Mrio, kuna ujinga." You know, there are things you can say from the beginning, because if I can project it towards him, then I can do it to you. Yeah. But there is some form of manipulation that is very deep. Why I'm saying that is
very
because,
subtle.
Why I'm saying that is because my ex never wanted to talk about her past relationship. Like, I said my story, she didn't want to tell me her story for her own reasons. But the moment she opened to me up about her story, and I was like, that's it. And that is why sometimes it's good to talk about your past. Because when I heard about the full story, I was like, okay, if I knew this before, I would not have been in this position. Honestly. Yeah? Because when I realized the things that she went through, I was like, and God, I don't know, for some weird reason, it's played out the same way for her. So she's likening me to her ex again now. But maybe, I'm just saying, just maybe, I'm not saying she's a problem. This is not a conversation about attacking someone. She's very talented, she's very bright, stuff and everything. I wish her the best in life. But sometimes I think she maybe needed to sit down and look at herself. Because maybe that's what made the first guy do that. You see, because I didn't know her story. But when you come and see some stories, then you come and realize there's some form of manipulation that is not so open. It's not so open. And you see, when you say that, the opponent disagrees that there's sometimes relationships, honestly, I feel if you want to do a relationship, yeah, you don't have to go in with your guard high. I feel it's supposed to be a point of vulnerability, like this guy said. When I had the conversation, I don't know whether she'll be happy about me saying this, but with my current, on the first day of the conversation, she cried. She cried. Yeah, of course, with my one and only. No, see, yeah, oh, sorry.
At your current.
Hey.
What is the plan?
No, okay. You know, I didn't do English in school.
Okay. It was optional.
No, yeah, it was optional.
Okay.
Yeah, and I dropped it in form 2.
Okay.
Because I knew it all. So anyway, like, what I'm saying is, you see, it's really a flip. And there are things you need to look. If you are to do that, then if you were to go with her guards high, I wouldn't be dating her. If she tells you the story, maybe you should do another podcast and say, how did you start dating? How I started dating her is so crazy. It's another crazy. She'll tell you, like, I was the craziest person. And I was just like, I want to date you. I want to be with you. It's a yes or a no. Like, I was at a point, I was so tired. And I was like, if she says no,
it's fine.
I tafuta my things, Nenda na rent pale kanyumba, nilizama na rent nyumba pale karibu na job kaka Savans Quarter. Juu nilikuwa nataka kuishi kwa mtu. Na nianze tu kuishi maisha. Sasa nikasema sasa nataka tu kuishi ile maisha. Yani you just live a life which is like a lost person. But anyway, that was all the whole story. I realized communication is key because I'm not the biggest communicator. Like this guy, the second phone call call Leo, I saw his phone calling. Na nakambia Sarah, usishike hiyo simu. We are at Moreti's house in the next 10 minutes. I receive more phone calls than I make. It's just natural. That's what she was saying when I used to call her, because for me to be in a position, I'm calling you and I can't find you. Na jam. Like, wewe ni nani sikupati? Wewe ni mimi ndio sipatikanangi. Sasa wewe kwa nini sikupati? You get? So you strike that balance of communication and you communicate, and it's important. Communication is good. Because we decided, like, one point she brought about when you realize you're having, I'm talking about myself, like as a man, one thing I feel females don't realize is what women bring to the table. And maybe that's why I left what I left and I went for what I went, is because, like, she's been talking to me about finances, and finances are a very fundamental part of a relationship, yeah? And you see, when someone starts bringing me in the spotlight about that, so right now, any decision I'm making is about the financial aspect, because I'm like, there's this, I tell her like this deal I've done, this money we've gotten, so what do you do? She's like, let's do this. Lakini najua kuna ile yangu ya sherehe, lazima tuiweke kando, because lazima tusonge sisi wote, you get it? So, it's communication, yeah, I like that one is key.
actually what she started by saying that by making sure that you're addressing all these issues as they come up, making sure that you're not letting certain things go unaddressed, certain things swept under the rug, because these are the monsters that grow and decimate the relationship. Someone was okay. This was a light note. People are saying that there's a meme I was seeing. They were saying how we didn't see the red flags like in Uhuru Kenyatta wakifanya ila campaign, like they were literally wearing red.
Tuliziona. Tuko accept.
And we ignored the red flags. So but anyway, all I'm saying is communication is very key in making sure that now that manipulate, when you feel that you're being manipulated, call it out. Like tell the person, I don't feel comfortable that you're doing this. Yeah, that you come today unitukane, and then you're here apologizing, and then the next day you're still repeating the same thing. If someone is over and over repeating the same thing, then that means they've not learned. They're not even willing to learn and change their behavior. And then the last point, as we finish here, this is going to be a very long one. Yeah, it's a very good one. So volatility, where they're talking about you're in a relationship where the person's fuse is very, very thin. Yeah? The person gonna flare up very quickly. And I agree that sometimes we can't be, we are short-tempered. Sometimes people can be short-tempered. But you need, because you for your own safety, like trying to see how this person reacts to bad news, how this person reacts to being ametritiwa vibaya, or they don't they feel that they've been aggrieved. How do they react to those kinds of situation? That is very, very key in showing you what kind of a person this person is. You can't hide. Anger essentially is very, very good at showing the character of a person. I remember my mom was when we were growing up, my mom was very deliberate in making sure that she doesn't punish us when she's angry. Like sometimes, like it's something that she deliberately did. Like if I've done the thing, she will let it pass. Labda tusahau. And then later on is when anaanza like, I'm like, I thought tuliso rilisha. Why are you like, you are not revenging anymore, you're not angry.
Stop voting.
I'm like, okay. So and then she would punish me, and in that regard, the impact, I feel like at that moment it would be much more appreciated, because now it's a learning moment as opposed to revenge for atrocities done against you. And so when we were talking with my mom, we realized when I was talking with my mom, we realized that she had a very close call with the mom. One time she came back from school, she was supposed to be in school, and the mom was in the shamba akilima, and then the mom was so pissed off akamtupia panga. So that moment apparently shifted how she looked at punishing and disciplining the children, and it changed her mindset on how she she made it a long plan on that she will not punish her children when she's angry. Adversity builds character, and you can see that in that regard, that specific regard, her character was developed in that way. So when you're in a relationship with someone who's always flaring up all of a sudden because ati food imeungua kidogo, like si utoe hiyo place imeungua, like what? or mtu amekwambia hana pesa, you become belligerent and you're shouting. Volatility is very, very dangerous, and it's actually a kind of a manipulation, because mtu atakugonga coffee. And then those people are very violent in the relationship. They're the most apologetic guy. They will almost kneel down. They will bring their pastors from Gishagi to come and talk to you. Like, I'm so sorry, I don't know what happened. And yes, and it will keep coming back and coming back. So that's something also I think that we need to check.
Yeah, sometimes it comes off like, especially we women, will make it look like we are in need or we are in trouble and we need to be saved. And the only person who can save me is someone who's married or someone who is in another relationship. You know, like, I need someone to heal my heart, but that someone is actually married with family. And so I feel like I should take their time. Like, I'm entitled to take their time for them to come and heal me, to save me, to rescue me. And they use things like, like in your case, someone was like, I'm so suicidal. Every time they wanted attention, it would be, I feel like I'm going to kill myself. And I'm like, if this person wanted to kill themselves, it's been a year. Sis, get it done with. I'm sorry, this is so harsh, but anyway, don't take it literal. But I'm just saying, I know there are people who are struggling with mental health. Legit.
Yeah.
Legit. Like, there are people who are struggling, who are having those thoughts of
but don't
harming yourself.
Yeah.
And there are others who use that because I think even our generation, they've realized how keen we are about someone who's struggling with mental health.
Yeah.
So the moment you mention I'm struggling, I have anxiety, we are there to cover you so fast. We want you to be okay. So this person noticed that every time she mentioned that she's having suicidal thoughts, this guy,
running, Kipchoge, running
not
to
even
save her.
thinking twice. How is this going to make my girlfriend feel that I'm always talking to this person? Nothing. He's not thinking. He wants to save her. And she,
talking, not meeting.
Talking. And of course, that is what she wanted. She wanted that communication. She wanted him to text back. She wanted him to call. She wanted him to, and him, he didn't realize it. For the longest time, this thing kept on hurting me. I'm like, why? Why is it so hard for you to stop talking to them? You know they're in trouble. You know what? I'm scared of them, CG.
So it's a form of... So someone is weaponizing a very serious issue.
And this is actually a proper weapon to actually what we have with him. And this guy doesn't notice it's actually affecting me. So I'm like, are you prioritizing what she's feeling over me? But in real sense, I came to realize him, anapenda tu kusave watu. Honestly, anapenda tu, na nikafika mahali nikaanza kumwambia, you cannot save the whole world. You won't. Because as you're trying to save her, and then you're losing me. Because me, I'm not there. Because me, I could see it. This is a game. It's a game, and I'm not for it. But, and then when you're dealing with someone like that, especially people who are using mental whatever, direct them to a professional. You're not a professional. You're not. You can't heal them the way a professional would handle it. So send them to such, or tell them to consult a family member instead.
If it's someone who's genuine, actually, so they're going to
find help.
They're going to find help,
yes,
as opposed to just reaching out to this person that they're interested.
They'll take the proper channel to get help. Otherwise, seeing ingine ni mchezo tu uko nayo. Yeah,
I just wanted to say I agree with her. Maybe some of them don't even realize that's how they think things are supposed to go. So they don't realize they're doing that. That's their way of getting attention or getting love.
Yeah.
So they need to be told you need professional help.
Yes. Yeah.
And one of the guys that I really respect, I won't mention his name because if I'm mentioning him too much, he says the thing with people in toxic relationships, you feel a certain level of martyrdom, like you get value in feeling like you are really helping this person, but in real sense you're not only harming yourself, but you're also harming this person.
Yeah, true.
Because the aspect of accountability, because personal accountability, that's a very important thing to have, where you're accountable for your actions, where you are also seeking to be a better person. And also now in this case where it's mental health, you are seeking to make sure that you're healing. You are depriving this person the opportunity to get these things, to grow in these particular areas.
Yeah.
So there's no value in feeling that even if I'm being manipulated, even if I'm being abused emotionally,
at least I'm
helping someone, at least I'm helping them grow.
Yeah.
That person, unless they are conscious about, they are consciously and deliberately seeking to grow and better themselves.
Yeah.
You are essentially kuosha kuku miguu. That's what we used to say.
Yeah.
Ama kuchezea mbuzi guitar.
Yeah, kuosha kuku miguu.
Ama kuchezea mbuzi guitar. There is no value that at least ngombe kuzichezea guitar they add milk. That's a thing. But there is no value that you're giving to the person, and there's no value you're giving to yourself. And given the brevity of life, honestly, I do believe that we deserve to be in relationships that are happy. We deserve to be in relationships that are there's reciprocity. Whatever you're investing in it, you're also getting something out of it.
Yeah.
And we shouldn't just sit back and have ourselves getting trodden on simply because we feel a certain level of benevolence. What about your personal growth? What about your personal happiness?
What about you? Who's helping you out?
Yeah.
And most of the time, like someone who's seeking if we are having this conversation about my thoughts that are negative, that I want to harm myself, can you come to me and tell me, when I consulted my therapist, he told me to visit this area of my life, and this area of my life actually involves you, and that is where I'm talking to you. Yes. So don't always come to me, because I'm sure all these issues that you have mentally, they can't all be related to me. And if they are, can we at least tell me how your therapist, your professional person told you to approach them when it comes to me? So don't just come to me and expect me to save you. Like, maybe I ask you how to save you.
Exactly.
So it's a back and forth that is not even valuable at all.
So I think the entire point would being that sometimes manipulation is very subtle. You don't even notice it's happening. Even the person doing it might not even be consciously deciding that they're doing it. But the moment we realize that's a problem, it's very important, as Esther was saying, to call it out, handle it. Like, make sure that you communicate that I don't like this because of 1, 2, 3, for the sake of the entire balance.
There's those you can arrest, but there are some you can't arrest, honestly. Now, she was talking about those ones where you can see. There's the
That's what I'm saying now. See. The moment but you notice,
ones you can, and let me tell you, sometimes with this evolving and some certain career, they have mastered the art of using it.
Lawyers.
I'm not the one who has said. Lawyers. Have you heard me saying anything?
We're talking about lawyers.
Have you heard me say anything?
Anyway,
Yet it may not be held against me.
Okay. Hold it against me.
Yeah. But there's a certain profession that some of them, they know how to use it. And they use it to their... She's also a victim of them. So you see, like those guys, it's something you've mastered to use it, and you'll never know when it's being used until then. Right now, if this is someone who would be talked to, I'll be the devil. Trust you me. Okay. And I'm not saying I didn't have any wrongs. But if we were to sit down in front of people and all of us talk the story, then she'll realize that she really messed me up as well.
Okay.
Honestly, as I conclude, if I may or not. If most of the time, if a relationship is over, and this is something I never did for the longest time, but my last relationship, which really, really messed me up, a good one, I will admit, it took me time. I took a whole year, and I decided, let me check. Yes, this person did this. This hurt me. He did this again. This hurt me. I sat down and went back to myself. So what were you doing? What about you? What did you do? Do you think this was healthy to them as well? And the moment you evaluate yourself like that, like he said, then you become better for the next, And the thing about manipulation is I discovered even myself, there are things I was doing. And because I was advantaged in a certain way and he wasn't, I used that a lot. A lot. Don't look at me like that. I use that a lot to sometimes make my argument and get my way and be like, how can you do that to me after I'm the one who
did the thing.
I'm always the one. So I used a lot of that, and sometimes I noticed that every time I used such words or such statement, he'd be so defeated, and I took so much pleasure in it because now he's all mine to control. And then he did me harm in other ways that he knew once he did that, then I'll be like, I'm at his mercy. I think growing yourself as well and realizing that I'm also manipulative in this way is
very, very good.
Very important.
Very important.
Okay, maybe my parting shot is I'm a big proponent of figuring out people's personalities. And maybe Daryl, I was telling you sound like an INTJ. And for me, I usually do it so that I can understand that person in terms of how maybe things they do and how I can, like you said, most bad communication is miscommunication. You not understanding. If I know he doesn't really like being called, maybe I'll go, okay, Daryl anakuanga hivyo, but I know if it's something important ataniambia. So I know that's his personality. You, something different. You are ESF something. I forgot. Yeah, but I think understanding people's personality is a big thing. It helps me in relationships and relating to people. So I usually understand people differently. So don't put people in a box. If there's a past relationship you had that was bad, don't use it to judge someone else.
Just to finish on that, I feel mine is a bit different, not a parting shot. Mine is more of know yourself. You see the way people say you go out to the world and you learn as much as you can. I feel if you find the right person, just learn enough. By enough, I mean just learn what. If this person likes chapati and they don't like ugali, you don't have to go and learn how to make ugali. My point, yeah? And this is in regards to their personality. Just morph into what this person is and what they like, and that's enough. Like Kabingo said, don't use previous relationships to bring them into the present. Evaluate yourself. See where you've gone wrong. I have gone wrong a couple of times. But I'm not shy to say sorry. Sorry is not a sign of weakness. Just say it and move on from that. The rest is going to fall into place. And you find that kind of person who ticks your boxes. This now goes to men. But if that person ticks your boxes and everything, you drop everything and you go and be with that person. There's no accolade for being resilient. No one is going to accolade you and be like, oh, God will not be like, you know, Moreti, ulivumilia sana duniani ukiwa na shiro. So kwa hiyo makosa yako wewe kuja tu ambia Gabriel muonyeshe tu ile kadi nimekupea. Utaingia, like there's no accolade. It's just about, but be very open about it. Maybe I wasn't open about it in the beginning, but you just have to put your foot down and say what has to be done and do what has to be done. And from there, I think it's just an easy journey, step by step, day by day.
I feel like relationships are a place we are supposed to enjoy and have some good time. Should be something beautiful, but we all have our weaknesses, and toxicity might be one of them. It's good if we can avoid some things in relationships. If you notice a red flag, try to handle some of these things at the beginning. It's better you walk away early in advance than be in that relationship. Then you have to heal from that relationship. Life is simple and easy. Let's not make it hard. Yeah.
Anyways, thank you guys so much for joining us. We hope to continue with this discussion. It's a very wide discussion. It's very difficult to completely exhaust it. But as you've listened and heard, personal responsibility and accepting where you've gone wrong, and also realizing that you're also toxic is a very, very important aspect of the entire equation. It's not always the other person that is toxic, but also calling yourself out when you realize that you also are being toxic, you also are being inconsiderate, is a very, very important aspect in your personal growth and development. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us. We hope to catch you next time. Kwaheri.